So in this video, we're going to pick up where we left off. We already have our honeycomb core material down. Again, have your gloves on, protect your skin, but also protect that surface, that honeycomb from your oil, the oils from your skin. So next, we're supposed to put down our resin film. I went ahead and got one of the corners going for me because I knew I was gonna take time. Make sure you get a pick or use your razor knife or something to get those corners apart if it's being stubborn. Luckily, it's really good resin film. That's why I'm having trouble with it. So get it centered in place, and then make sure you use your squeegee. Get all the air out. Make sure it's down real good. I'm not going to waste any time because we're filming, but make sure you spend time getting that worked out. Now, I'm going to cut. Yeah, see, it's not sticking. Oh, stickier than that. So I'm going to use my heat to heat it up. Going on high, you probably don't want to do that because you'll end up curing the material, but for the sake of the video, I want it to stick faster. Anyways, so we're going to be going around corners with this stuff. Yes, it's grabbing better. We'll go around corners with this stuff. So it is perfectly fine to go ahead and cut it. Just like that, so it'll lay down in place. And I'll show you why in just a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off. And it's easier to cut with the backing film on, but I want to show you why you need to cut it, if I could get it apart correctly. I'm trying to hurry too. This is not a process to be rushed, but I know we're filming. So make sure you get all that backing film off. Anything left by is FOD. It'll keep you from having good bonds. So get that down. Now, if you look in this corner, I try to put this down in place. I'm gonna get all kinds of wrinkles. Now, yes, it is a resin film, but you still don't want clumping of resin into those areas and like little wrinkles, because it could, with that carrier, it could show up in your final part. So what we do, I'll show you in this corner, we'll get this down in place. And then, as you see, once I cut that corner, I'll come over here, lay this down, and then I can come over on top. So I should have cut the other corners. I can come over on top and overlap that. And you can see I don't have any clumping of resin. I've got some wrinkles right here that are just because I didn't put it in place first. But I'm just trying to demonstrate where the problem would come from. And then over here, we didn't do any cutting, so once I put this down in place, as you can see, we end up with a lot of wrinkles and some clumping of the resin film. So you don't want to do that. Always cut it, lay it down real smooth, take your time. I'm just going to go ahead and get this in place. We're going to damage this part later on, so I'm just going to roll with it right now. Just roll that over. It could show up. It's not the ideal way you want to do it. Do it like I did over here. Cut your four corners, lay them in place, and then you won't have any problems. We're going to damage this later to teach how to repair it, so it's not that big of a deal. Next layer on the note says carbon fiber. So I'm going to show you how to put this carbon fiber down. Get your backing film off of it. And then it can be pretty tricky, so with the corners. So first off, get it centered and in place. Make sure you're pretty dead on, because pulling it away can be a nightmare if that resin film is real sticky. Use your squeegee. Again, take your time. Get the material laid down correctly. I'm hurrying for the sake of this video. Now, if you were to go over and try to cut this to get these corners down, then you've messed your whole entire part up. Might as well throw it in the garbage now. Never, ever cut your reinforcement, because you're really cutting your reinforcement. You're cutting the fiber, so there's no strength. So you cannot cut the corners. And that's the purpose for this video, is to show you how to get around and work around these corners. Now, we are working with a core material, we are working with a carbon fiber pre-preg material, woven material that I just got out of the scraps of the freezer. So out in the industry, usually they'll have a different type of weave pattern when you're having to go over corners to make it lay down it better. This looks like this is just a plain weave. They'd probably go with like a 5 harness satin or something like that, where it will go into place easier. But we got to work with what we have. These are donations. So first off, get it fairly warm. That way the material moves. It allows that resin to soften and it causes it to drape easier. So what I'll do, I don't want to cure the resin, so I don't want to get it too hot, but I want to get that resin softened up enough to where it'll move. This is at a 45-degree angle when I cut the material. That's what the lab required. So I'm trying to work with it best I can. Heat those corners up. And this is some expired material, so it's not working with me too well. Again, we just do the best we can. Get that resin real soft so the material will move. See how much easier it moves around for me? It's getting sticky too. And then you'll want to pull it down and kind of stretch it over that corner, just like that. And that is how you work the corners in. So getting it hot gets it to stretch, and then you notice how it lays down. And then once you get those corners down, you can work everything else out. But if you look, I got a few little out here, but those will be trimmed off too in the part. But come back, squeegee everything in place. If you have to, put some backing film back over it. Just make sure you get everything laid down, tucked in, no bridging in your corners. Takes some patience, but you can get it and get it laid down, and then you'll notice how smooth that corner looks right over here. Now, over in this corner, we're going to not do that. We're just going to lay it down without trying, and it's going to show up in the final part. This is for instructional purposes, but if you look, now we've got the crease there. And what can you do with that crease? Not much. You have to fold it over. All of a sudden, you've damaged your part. Might as well throw it in the garbage. So you have to take some time and take some patience to get those corners correctly, or there's no point in even making the part. Again, out in industry, this will be a lot easier because they will have the materials engineered. But as you can see, we still got a really smooth corner, and I'll do the other corners, and then we'll have it. We got many other layers to go, but make sure that you heat it up, pull it out. Fiberglass will probably work a little bit easier, but a lot of times the fiberglass tends to be stickier, so be careful with your heat. It may stick too much, and it may just lay down and you can't get it apart, so be careful with that. But that's how you work your corners out in core materials. That's it.